Welcome back to Draft Bros. Today, we have a very special episode in the normal Draft Bros style. We are going to be doing a back and forth battle, but Broshmo, tell me today what we are going to be doing it about.
Yo, everybody loves college football, and we're doing a college football top 25, going back and forth. We're starting at 1, going to 25. It's going to be a good time.
I know. So we are going to be doing this in draft style format, just like we did the power rankings. So let's, I think, just hop right into it.
Yeah, who's got one?
I'll let you get one. I had one last time. I think. Yeah.
Did
Who
you?
cares?
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. Because no, I would have said that the Jaguars would have been the number 4 team, and I think they were number 5. So I ended up having the number 1 pick, therefore.
I mean, number 1's kind of easy. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into this sucker.
Yes, sir.
Yes. All right, so my number 1, and I assume your number 1 is going to be Georgia.
No.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Yep.
I'm just anticipating, like, I did all my projections prior to bowl season. So, like, all the way up through conference championships and whatnot. And Georgia just has one of the easiest schedules. They should, in theory, go undefeated.
Yeah.
Them and Alabama have a really cupcake schedule. But, yeah, they should. And, I mean, they're still kind of Keens. Like, they did it with Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett. There we go. They have Carson Beck, who's kind of like been sitting in the wing. So they got so much talent around those guys. I think it's kind of irrelevant if those guys shine or not.
Mm-hmm.
So,
because I hear that a lot about a team called Texas A&M, where they have all this talent.
Well, see, the problem is Jimbo.
This is true. Jimbo the Bimbo. That's why I also have Texas
That's what
A&M.
Nick Saban calls him.
Honestly, it's well deserving. I still have Georgia in my top 4. They're still making the playoffs.
Oh, so, yeah. I think they're just kind of an obvious one just because of their schedule and, yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I was hoping that you and I would be on the same page about one of our top teams. That is Florida State. I assume they're probably in your top 3.
They are. They are. When I told you, we probably have the same. Like, my top 3 were real easy. Yeah. They were number 3.
Yeah, so they're my number 1. I just feel like they didn't lose anything of significance, and they retained a lot of their superstars and then got better with Keon Coleman. They're just loading up Jaheim Bell. They're loading up for a super season, and honestly, I do feel like the rest of the competition is getting significantly worse.
Yeah, I mean, with them, like, they open with LSU on a neutral site. Where are they being played? I don't care. I don't know. I think they win that one, but LSU's still a good squad. They have to face Clemson in Death Valley. So, I mean, they have a couple of games where it's like, okay, those are tough on the road games. Mm-hmm. So, I think they could probably drop one and still win the ACC and sneak in here. Yeah. I think I had them with 1 loss. So, my next team is. I imagine you had these guys high as well. It's gonna be Michigan. I gotta move up here.
Michigan's my 3rd.
Yeah. Speaking of a team that brought back everybody, they brought back everybody. Like Blake Corum. You got Donovan Edwards. You got Lightning and Thunder there. They bring back the same receivers outside of was it Ronnie Bell last year who left?
Yep.
But
and Schoonmaker.
No, that's right. But they got stinking Roman Wilson, Cornelius, Johnson. JJ McCarthy now going into a second year of being a full-time starter. And the defense is still going to wreak havoc. On top of that, really, I think their schedule is pretty easy until they face Ohio State or Penn State. I'm trying to remember which one they have at home. I think it's the Penn State game they have at home. I could be wrong about that, actually. I think it's
the Ohio State one, because Ohio State was over at Penn State, so I doubt Penn State gets to have. I feel like it's Michigan's turn to be the big game at Penn State this year.
Yeah, I think they played in the Horseshoe actually last year. So yeah. It's at Michigan.
Yeah, because I feel like I would have went to go see Michigan versus Penn State last year if I had the chance.
Yeah. So these were your top 3?
No.
Ooh.
I had Georgia at 4.
That's right.
I have
That's right.
USC at number 3 on mine. But again, I assume we have a similar. I don't know where you have USC. Before I make claims, do you have them at 4?
No.
Okay.
They're in the top 10, but not at 4.
So I don't feel like USC really lost very much in terms of overall firepower. They lost a reliable back. They lost their number 1 wide receiver, but I don't feel like Jordan Addison was the reason why that system was cooking. I feel like Cliff Kingsbury does a very good job maximizing the talent of his receivers, and then they have
Lincoln Riley
quarterback. Who did I say?
Cliff Kingsbury.
Damn, oops, my bad. Let's take a moment.
Isn't he still in Taiwan? Or no, he went to the Philippines. My bad.
Yeah, he maximizes the receivers over there very well. No, but Lincoln Riley. Sorry, I was thinking of Texas Tech for a second. But regardless, yes, Lincoln Riley. There you go. He maximizes the receivers very well. Has the best quarterback in the game, arguably ever. They have some really good backs. I remember last year was a true freshman. I'm slipping my mind, but I remember seeing him in the All-American game. I think it's like Raleek Brown or something. He is an absolute monster. So very excited to see him.
They bring in what's his name? Marshawn Lloyd.
Yeah,
from South Carolina too. So.
So they got a good enough running back core. They really didn't lose anything except for Andrew Voorhees on that offensive line, who's a really good player, but he took a big step back last year.
Said Voorhees took a big step back last year?
Absolutely. The guy had no power whatsoever, got injured at his combine as well, or at his pro day combine.
Yeah. He was hurt at the end of the year too, so.
Yeah, that's the reason he fell. He would have probably been a late day 2 pick. If not, but great player. The defense, they still have guys like Kellen Bullock in there who are very nasty. Keontae Foreman. Is it Keontae? What's his name?
It's Corey.
Corey Foreman. Who the hell is Keontae Foreman?
Deontay Foreman.
Deontay Foreman. And then I was thinking Keontae Ingram. Anywho, good squad. I feel like they're just going to be one of those teams that's continuously competitive, and I don't think that they're roster dependent because they, similar to the Chiefs, kind of have one head coach and one quarterback that can take advantage over the rest of the roster.
All right. Well, I guess I get number 5 here, and this is where then we drop to the next group. But I'm going with Ohio State. This is where you were kind of asking me where you had them. Yeah, I think Ohio State's going to have one loss, being Michigan this year.
I don't think they beat Penn State.
I don't think Penn State goes into the horseshoe and wins.
I do.
They don't have the reliable hand of Sean Clifford anymore.
They have a much better quarterback in Drew Lohr.
Didn't look like it last year. He's
a true freshman.
Exactly. And now he's going to be a first-time starter. You don't have the seasoned hand of stinking Sean Clifford. Regardless, I still think you go into the horseshoe, that's going to be tough against a team that is just going to be tough because they recruit better than most teams in the nation.
Fair.
But Ohio State, their schedules actually, they have some tough ones. They go to Michigan. They go to Wisconsin, which I think Wisconsin's going to be competitive this year. Luke Fickell, man. I think that's the big thing. Luke Fickell.
Dude, they have SMU's quarterback that we literally just said, get the hell out of here for somebody who's a nobody.
Can he hand the football off?
To a guy who can only run pretty much through people? Yes. I do not like Braylon Allen.
I like Braylon Allen. You probably hate Derrick Henry too. Regardless, they also have to go to Notre Dame. So that's going to be tough with Sam Hartman over there. So it's not like they have like an easy schedule, but this is a team with a bunch of talent. They're top 10 easy. They were actually my number 4.
Yeah, they're my number 9. I don't think they're going to be that good.
See, top 10 easy. Called it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I wasn't going to disagree with the top 10, but for the next selection, I'm going to be ballsy here. I'm going to go the University of Texas at Austin.
I have them at 5.
Oh, wait, really?
Texas? Yeah, Texas?
Yeah.
I have them at 5.
Okay, well, there you go. We're both going to be ballsy and put UT at 5.
Yeah, they're winning the Pac or the Big 12.
Yeah.
In their last year.
Yeah, they're going to dominate in their last year. Ewers is just, going to take that big step up, hopefully, especially with, the shadow of a Manning right behind him. So hopefully we get to see that pressure pushes him forward to 80 Mitchell. Hopefully staying healthy is going to be good. And then you got, that team is loaded with talent regardless. So very excited.
So much. Nair, you got Worthy, Sanders. It's someone's gonna be open just because of how talented that squad is.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then on defense, they got some good guys too.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna be real crazy with number 7 here. It's Alabama, because I think they have a cupcake schedule.
Yeah.
Like they're just gonna be good. They get all their toughest games are all at home. Texas in Tuscaloosa. Ole Miss, Tuscaloosa. Arkansas, Tennessee, LSU, Tuscaloosa. Their toughest road game, Kentucky or Texas A&M.
Those are both losable.
They're losable, but I don't know.
That's a team. I wouldn't call it a cakewalk. Milroe had a tough time versus Texas A&M.
It's a cakewalk compared to the rest of the SEC.
That's fair. That is.
You get your toughest games at home. Not one of them. Not one. Like all those teams I mentioned, better than A&M and Kentucky.
Yep.
So Alabama. I think they will ride into the SEC championship game and lose. They didn't do it last year, did they? It was LSU instead.
No. Yeah. I do not have them making the SEC championship, but we'll get to that soon. My next team is Utah. Talk about a steady-handed quarterback like Sean Clifford, and we're talking about Dalton. Why do I want to call him Dalton Rising? What's his name? Cam Rising.
Terror Rising.
Yes. So Cam Rising, he's a very consistent quarterback, amazing in college, very clutch. He was able to beat USC, not once, but twice last year. So they're the reasons why USC got kicked out.
Yeah, and honestly, the Florida opener was kind of fluky because of the conditions.
Mm-hmm. So I think Utah just overall is a very solid roster. They even added Micah Pittman, if I'm not mistaken. Am I correct?
Yep, you're right.
Yep. So also former Oaks Christian Lion. So also screw Micah because he is a bitch, but that's A-okay. But talent certainly there. And, Utah, I do think is going to be a very competitive team regardless.
I think the Pac-12 is going to kill each other.
Yeah.
And I don't have a Pac-12 team inside the top 4. I just think they're all going to kill each other.
That's fair.
They're all just super good.
I don't know about how UCLA is going to do without their QB or running back.
Oh, well, speaking of UCLA, the next team I have here is Oregon.
There's no fucking way this guy's doing this.
No, it's I think
that's fair.
Oregon's another team that brought back a lot of talent. Bucky Irvin, Bo Nix, Troy Franklin, though it's not like he could jump. I think this year is his first year being eligible. And they added a lot of good pieces. I really love the Justin Jacobs addition there. Yeah. If he could stay healthy.
Yeah.
I love Dan Lannon as a coach. I like him better than Cristobal as a Hurricanes fan. I'm kind of jealous. Kind of sucks. So yeah, I think Oregon's going to make some noise, man.
I do too. I have them just outside my top 10, but they're one of those teams that I'm very, very high on. I like them. They're a very good team.
Yeah, I have them 7 and then USC 8. I have Oregon 1 in Pac-12. But it was those two. And then Utah, Utah's such a hard team to discount.
I know.
Especially since they just won last year. It's not like they lost much.
No, I know. They lost Clark Phillips pretty much. That's the biggest
kid.
Move.
But
didn't forget about that one.
They get a healthy Brant Kuthi, so
they do. And Brant was the one, if I'm not mistaken, going off early.
Yeah.
But yeah. Regardless, my next selection is one based on a quarterback that I love, and it's a team that absolutely kicked rear last year. They no longer have Hendon Hooker, but they have Joe Milton. I'm going Tennessee. I think that
I'm much lower on Tennessee.
I'm probably aware. I think that Tennessee has their best edge rusher still on their team in Tyler Barron. And I think just they're consistent enough. They have a really good defensive interior, and just all around, they have athletic guys everywhere. They're going to continue dominating, even with a mediocre receiving core. They still got Brew McCoy there, and then they finally have a guy who can throw it extremely far. So they're adding in an even bigger vertical game without Jalen Hyatt. But I mean, you can get a guy with some speed in there for sure.
Yeah, they did make my top 25. I have him at 21. I have him at 9-3.
You don't believe in Joe Milton, though.
I don't, not to the extent, like, I don't think he's like a
top 10 quarterback.
I don't think he's a replacement for Hendon Hooker. And I mean, they lost like Cedric Tillman and Jalen Hyatt, so it's not like you got the same weapons either. So I think to have a little bit of a step back, a little bit of regression should be is probably expected. I mean, hey, maybe they come out and they clap. So
they could.
I'm going to keep it boring here. I'm going to go with Penn State. They always, some way, somehow, make it up here. Mm-hmm. And yeah, they're losing Sean Clifford. But like you said, they got a higher upside quarterback coming in town, even though he is a first-year starter. As far as their schedule, like I was like looking, and their losses are Michigan and Ohio State for me. No surprise. Their toughest game outside of that is Iowa, but they get Iowa at Happy Valley, so
that's fair.
Nice.
I have them at number 8, so I have them above Ohio State, but that's because I believe they're going to be Ohio State. So my next team is actually my number 11. So I think the only one is my number 12 team that we've taken so far in Oregon, but it's Washington.
Oh,
team that really didn't lose very much at all.
We really love the Pac-12.
Yeah, well,
in its final season.
Yeah, they're juggernauts trying to make a big push here, but a lot of these teams have not really lost much. Washington, I was debating putting even higher because of the fact that their best asset, which is their pass rush, is both there, continuing to develop, continuing to stay healthy. And they always know how to have some good DBs. So their defense is going to be great regardless. And then offensively, don't really think there's going to be very much regression there with their top weapons still in the game and their number one quarterback still there.
All right. I think I'm going to jump back to the ACC for this and go with Clemson.
Clemson was my 14th.
Yeah. So this is a team that just their defense is studded.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense carried them so much last year. And to be fair, was his name Cade Klubnik?
Yeah, Klubnik.
Yeah, he looked all right, like at the tail end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And they got I don't know who they brought in as OC, but they realized, hey, the offense, it was bland, it was predictable. So we need to do something about that. Maybe the offense, we know they recruit very, very well. They have the talent, so maybe the offense looks much better this year. But I think it's also fair that the ACC, in comparison to maybe like an SEC, a Pac-12, is a bit of a weaker conference.
Yeah.
Which I know some people might not want to hear that. It's kind of the truth.
That's not incorrect. Clemson was my 14th team, so my number 13, and now we'll have every single team up until 14 on my board. Notre Dame.
Oh, I think that was my number 12.
Oh, okay. So am I correct by saying we have our top 14, or did you have Tennessee lower?
I have one team.
Yeah, okay.
That we will see after this.
Notre Dame just consistently produces solid O-line. They still got Joe Alt, so you have one of the most valuable positions with one of the best players in the country. Hartman is just consistently a really good college quarterback. We'll see if he can, play in the NFL that level, even though he's going to be 35 years old by the time he does it. But I mean, they have good weapons all around. Again, good O-line, and then defensively, their head coach is a defensive supermind, so he knows exactly what he's doing, even if he doesn't have exactly the pieces. So I'm happy for him.
All right, well, I'm going to steal a line from an all-time great here, T-Pain. And for this number 15, I'm going to get a mansion somewhere out in Wisconsin. I got Wisconsin. They have an easy schedule. This is year one of Luke Fickell. They have they bring in like Tanner Mordecai is a fine college quarterback.
No, he's not.
They got one of the best running backs in the nation, and that defense is always super gritty. Like looking at their schedule, their toughest game is literally Ohio State, and they get them in Madison. So I think Wisconsin's going to surprise a lot of people.
How did SMU do under Tanner Mordecai, record-wise, in the A?
Oh, well,
AC?
see, Tanner Mordecai is actually going to have talent around him.
So you're saying a second-round wide receiver in Rashee Rice is not
I
talent?
didn't like Rashid Rice.
You didn't like him?
I had him as like a late third round, early fourth guy.
Oh, so still, NFL caliber. What's a better
I
weapon
liked
that he
Reggie
has there?
Robertson. Yeah, that's
Well-
cool. He had 2 wide receivers.
What weapons does he have there in Wisconsin besides a running back?
Oh, I'm sure the offensive line is going to be nifty because Wisconsin
be better.
always has a great offensive line.
They do have a much better offensive line.
Even if like the passing targets aren't great,
So they don't have great weapons.
at least he'll have time to throw. Like he'll have days to throw.
With Big Ten edge rushers?
Well, you don't even like Ohio State's edge rushers.
Compared to the Wisconsin offensive line, I think it's pretty comparable to AAC edge rushers to SMU.
They'll be fine. I mean, he'll be throwing the ball all of, to be fair, under Luke Fickell, probably like 30 times a game, but he won't need to.
Yeah, because Braylon Allen is the best running back in the entire world, apparently.
He's in the might be one of the best in the nation.
I feel like he's a one-trick pony. He's very similar to Lucas Van Ness in that mindset of they kind of just do one thing well.
I mean, he's
No,
very
it's-
shifty for a big back. Like, and
I don't
he
think
is
it's NFL
big.
translatable. He's a big guy, and he's shifty for being big, but I don't think it's shifty enough to make a difference in the NFL. Maybe in college. So
I
I guess it makes sense for this.
I'm a big fan
But-
of him.
I don't think Wisconsin's going to make the top 25 at
Yeah.
all. I mean,
have
if
him
Preston Stone, quarterback, backup at SMU, was what every single person was chanting for when Tanner Mordecai was playing, that should show you what happens when, Tanner Mordecai is going to be going to bigger competition. Wish him the best. Hopefully he proves me wrong, but I feel sincerely bad for Wisconsin because they haven't had anything since Jack Cohn. But on a more positive note, I'm going to go to a quarterback I do actually end up liking who just transferred to this school. They have actually a great O-line as well. They even have a tight end with the last name Rex and Isaac Rex. It's BYU.
Hate BYU.
Huh?
Well, I'm not a believer in BYU.
Yet you're a believer in a crap team like Wisconsin. So they play in an easier.
Okay, Keaton
schedule.
Slovis.
He's so much better than Keaton's not a bad.
Yeah, he was
quarterback at all.
good 3 years ago.
He's still serviceable, and he's going behind an elite O-line that has a great run game. So speaking of Wisconsin, and they have significantly
And
better
They're
weapons.
moving to the Big 10 or Big 12.
That's much easier, in my opinion, than the Big Ten.
The Big
So-
Ten's all of 3 teams.
Okay. What's the Big 12 in terms of defenses? They're known for
Yeah,
pretty much the
yeah.
sky is wide open.
It is all offense in the Big 12. I
It's
ain't
all
gonna disagree
offense
with
there.
that.
It is all offense, and they have a great offensive line, including a first-round quality right tackle. Defensively, that's probably their weak point. So that's something you can definitely criticize. But I do think Keaton Slovis is going to actually have a pretty solid year and just end up being, I think he's better than Jaron Hall. I'll put it that way. So not very high bar to breach.
Yeah. Jaron Hall is a good baseball player.
Amen to that.
I mean,
He's a good guy at throwing to the sideline. He's very accurate to the sideline.
Oh yeah, he could sling. He's got a baseball arm.
I know. I mean, out of bounds seems to be his favorite target so
All
far.
right, so I am gonna actually go outside of the group of 5. BYU no longer can say that. Well, I guess Notre Dame's technically group of 5, but they're
Mhm.
basically a Power 5 team.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Tulane here. I actually have them a little higher. They're 13 for me. I
Yeah.
think Tulane's gonna go back to back when it comes to these this AAC title. They get Michael Pratt back.
Mhm.
And they have a favorable schedule. Like their first 2 games are probably the toughest games on their schedule. And fortunately enough, they get them at home. They all their tough games are at home. They get South Alabama, which Hey, that
It's a good
South
spot.
Alabama was kind of a Sun Belt
Yeah.
juggernaut.
Yeah.
Then Ole Miss,
Mm.
but they do finish the year with UTSA
Mhm.
at home. So I think they can make it work. I think they're going to win the American again and find themselves in the top 25.
I think that the loss of Tyjae Spears might be a little bit much because he was a big backbone of their
That
offense.
was huge. They did lose some receivers as well, and they lost very good linebacker core in Dorian Williams and Nick Anderson.
Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens there. I'd be very happy for you to be wrong as someone who also is part of the AAC at SMU, but I'm going to go to Texas A&M and just pray that the quarterback situation does something, because we all know they have all the talent in the world.
They do.
They just don't piece it together. It's a team where I'm praying that they can end up being probably where my Tennessee spot's at, but just I don't know why.
Jimbo's a good recruiter.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it. It's unfortunate.
Dang. Texas A&M. Oh, man. It'll be interesting. Like you said, it's a team with all the talent. It's just Tony Grimes is there now, too.
Yep.
Good transfers. I'm going to go back to the Big 12 country, and I'm going to go with Kansas State.
Really?
I didn't put Kansas State on here.
Lamau.
Did
you put Kansas in there?
I did put Kansas.
Oh, come on. You put Kansas
I know. How did I miss Kansas State? You know what? You know what? Yeah. We'll just say Kansas team in general.
Yeah. Kansas team in
general. There will be a Kansas team here.
Dude.
But I think
Kansas is actually a good school.
You could actually make an argument for either or.
Yeah.
So, like, Kansas State did lose a lot defensively with Felix DK Uzama and who was Juju Brents now. So they did lose a lot defensively, but they get Will Howard now.
Yeah,
back.
Well, he was there.
Yeah, there, but in another full year as a starter. They do lose Deuce Vaughn. They bring back Phil Brooks, a receiver. So it's like they got some good things working there. They're well coached. But you could also say the same thing for Kansas, who is apparently also going to be – they're more than a placeholder. They're a team that could end up here as well. They have one of the most exciting, I think, quarterbacks in college football. They actually have a really good run back in Devin Neal. So, man, you can't sleep on either Kansas or Kansas State.
Yeah, I think that, for me, Kansas actually has a higher likelihood of being in the top 25 than K-State because, to be fair, everybody knows how much of a fan I was of Deuce. So,
yeah, I had Kansas just miss my top 25, and then Kansas State, I actually have at 14.
Wow. That's a big surprise.
You're telling me.
Yeah. The next one for me is LSU. So,
ooh.
I do like LSU. They do have some good weapons.
I don't disagree. I have them at 17.
Okay. I have them at 17. So we're on the same page. But actually, I'll let you go more in depth with it because you have more of an appreciation for the receiving talent they have than I do.
Malik Neighbors is an after the catch machine. He had 20-some force missed tackles last year.
Against
and honestly, he has a quarterback who's developed pretty solidly. He's not. I'm not saying he's great or anything, but
Jalen Daniels is good.
Yeah, he's fine. He's solid.
Yeah,
and they're actually pretty stacked at running back. They don't have I don't think they have a true great running back, but they have a bunch of complementary pieces there.
Yep. You're up next.
All right. Well, this is the team I actually have at 16. I have them just above LSU, and it's Arkansas.
Ooh.
KJ Jefferson, Raheem Sanders, they're back again. Once again, low key. This is a really good defense. Hudson Card. They bring in a guy that I talked about in our Edge video coming over from Pittsburgh, John Morgan III. And so I think they're going to surprise quite a bit. They were a little bit unhealthy at parts of the season last year, but I think they can surprise. I think they're going to be a 9-win team again.
Yeah. Speaking of Texas, Jalen Catalan.
Yeah.
They don't have him anymore, but they still have Dwight McLaughlin, who's the better DB. So Arkansas is a fun one.
Oh,
I did not.
didn't even mention McLaughlin, dude.
I know. I was waiting. I was giving you your podium for
I
that, but
forgot the McGlove.
the McGlove. They did not make my top 25 mainly because I think they're a good team. It's just at some point you can't fit them in your top 25. My next team is actually Oregon State.
Oh, nice. I have them at 23.
I have them at 18. So I'm
I
a
don't
pretty
disagree.
I'm a pretty big believer in Oregon State because I think they upgraded at the quarterback position, pretty much maintained the quality of their offense. Where besides that, I believe in Taliese Fuaga. If you guys have not checked out our tackles video, feel free to do that, or my tackles rankings where I go into it a little bit deeper. But just an absolute freak show. He is my number 2 tackle in the draft class. So I do have a big affinity for him, kind of in the same way I had an affinity for Deuce being my number 2 RB.
They had a big addition too.
What DJU?
DJU, baby.
Yeah, I said they had an upgraded quarterback. They still kept the majority of
it's kind of bigger than just an upgraded quarterback. What, they had Chance Nolan for parts of last year?
I don't really believe in DJU, to be fair. That's like another
I don't even think you have to believe in DJU. Like the upside with him.
He's a 250-pound dude who doesn't love football but has a big arm.
Exactly.
So if he loves football,
he got picked up in the MLB draft this past spring.
What round was he in? Was like the
84th
or something?
It was like 14th or 17th.
Oh, I thought it was like the 80th round.
You know what? Someone could come out and say that, and probably are right.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying this. I know he went.
He went.
He went.
Period. But yeah, Oregon State's defense is honestly always consistently solid. Great coaching. They just know what they're doing.
All right. So there's one of 2 Big 12 schools I want to talk about. And I think I'm going to talk about the one that's more fun. And I'm going to go with Texas Tech. Tyler Shuck is an all right college quarterback. He's okay, and he got real hot at the end of the season. Like this offense, they were slinging. This offense was really hot last year. They bring back a lot of their defensive line, like everyone outside of Tyree Wilson. And they went out and replaced him with someone apparently that's getting a lot of hype in Steve Linton, who hasn't played a ton, but went on the field, looked really, really good, kind of played out of place at Syracuse. So like Texas Tech could be a big surprise team in the Big 12.
I cannot believe that unless you're going to mention them as your next team, that North Carolina is not going to be in this.
They were my 19.
Is that your next team you're going to mention?
It would be.
Thank fuck for that. Okay, so I'm going to mention, because I was actually going to throw out my list just to put UNC in here. I'm going to have my next team be SMU. Not because I'm a homer, but because I think we upgraded at quarterback. Thank you, Wisconsin, for taking away the guy who a lot of fans unfortunately cheered when we ended up subbing in a new quarterback in the middle of our Cincinnati game. But we upgraded at quarterback. We have consistently brought in a lot of recruits, most of them being from the U. Don't know why, but they decided to come.
It's almost like there was tampering or something.
I know. It looks like we had some. I mean, I actually saw Rashee Rice plenty of times in Miami. I don't know what was going on down there, but something was going on. We got a bunch of recruits from Miami, so obviously those guys are legitimate talents, including Jalen Knighton. So we have a good running game that can take away from our quarterback having to carry the load. Our offense has always been pretty high octane. Defense, we always miss tackles anyway, so it's just more so praying to God that guys put it all together. But we got enough recruits to where I think in a very poor AAC can make something happen.
All right, so we kind of already said North Carolina is going to be this last team. Last year, they were kind of beneficiaries of a bit of a cupcake schedule early on. And then when they finally, ran into a real team, they started losing games. Like Florida State, to be fair, they played Florida State pretty close, but then I think they got smacked by Clemson. I could be getting that mixed up. But this year, they will be tested early. I think they opened the year at South Carolina, or it's on a neutral site, but they open the year with South Carolina. So much tougher. You can't sleep on Appalachian State. They were fun last year. I mean, they did it to North Carolina last year, right? Did they win that at the end? Or was it? No, because then it was the missed 2-point conversion or something, right?
Dude, that's like a memory that I have yet to be able to yank out my memory log. Wow. I just remember watching at UNC versus Clemson.
Well, regardless, the schedule, it's kind of nice to them after that because, I mean, their only home game or their only away game going into the last week of October is Pittsburgh. So winnable. This should be a team with no more than probably one loss on the schedule heading into November. And they finished the year with, honestly, 2 really tough away games, being Clemson and North Carolina State. You can't sleep on North Carolina State.
NC State, yeah.
Yeah, NC State's always really, really pretty gritty. And it being a rivalry game, it's always going to be tough. But yeah, I think I don't think they're going to be competing for the ACC. I mean, they'll be competing, but I don't think they're going to be. I think it's still going to come down to Florida State, Clemson this season. But Drake May, they brought in Kent State receiver. I want to say it's Devontae Walker. It's something Walker.
Yeah, I think it's Devontae Walker.
Yeah, big body. Once he gets going, watch out. We'll go up and snag the football and call your mom and talk about it. Like, he's just sick nasty at that. So like they're a really good squad. I just think against like a Clemson or a Florida State, they're right now at this point just a little outclassed from a depth perspective.
Fair. Okay, so now's the time where we just mention some honorable mentions that we probably had in our top 25, but not in this one. My next team would be Maryland.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Maryland, they have some really talented defensive backs on their squad. They had a true freshman middle linebacker who was an absolute beast there. I think his last name is Basham, and he's going to continue getting better as well. Their defense is always rock solid, and you guys like Dante Trader still there. And there's another DB that I know that they have that keeps getting mentioned as well in even first round mock drafts. So obviously they got some talent there in that secondary still, even without Deonte Banks. Offensively, Talia Tagovailoa is still, he's the actually good version of the Tagovailoa brothers because he throws right armed, but he also I feel like without Jalen Duncan, they're going to be even safer on that left tackle spot. They're just a pretty damn solid squad. It's a sneaky team, but you're just still getting better at the quarterback position.
Yeah, I feel like Oklahoma, like they should be good. They should.
Yeah, I have them.
Like they were the team that I actually have ahead of Texas Tech, but I was like, screw it. I want to talk about Texas Tech instead of Oklahoma. And I mean, I feel like in year 2 of Venables, like everything will hopefully click. You got a very seasoned quarterback in what is it? Daniel Gabriel, right?
Dylan Gabriel.
There we go. So they got a really seasoned quarterback there. So yeah, Oklahoma, they should be in the mix here. Anyone else you want to mention?
There's Ole Miss in there with Zachary Franklin, and then I think they still have Ulysses Bentley, Junkins. Like, that's a team I have in my top 25. They also have Cedric Johnson, who I have as a top 10 edge rusher in the class. So that's right. I put him above JT Tuimoloau.
Yeah, I want to just give a shout out to the Sun Belt. I had Troy making my top 25 as the winners of the Sun Belt. They bring back Jubinor, dude.
10 pounds lighter.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
that
was their team though. Defense last season.
I know
it worked. It worked. Like, you could give a shout out to South Alabama too, a team that brought back a lot of their guys from last year. I think Troy got the better of them last season because they're both in the same division, so they both can't qualify at the same time for the conference championship. So that's been unfortunate, and it's a little unfortunate for South Alabama because they get Troy at Troy. So kind of give the nod to the home team there.
This is fair. I also mentioned Colorado because I believe in Shedeur as a very high quality quarterback. I think Dion does have quite a bit of swag to him, has a ton of talent around him, and then Travis Hunter is somebody who cannot be really made fun of because his talent is through the roof. And then Iowa, because Iowa I think got an upgraded quarterback.
Be sneaky,
and they're very sneaky. They just know exactly what they're doing. I mean, without Justin Jacobs there, that does kind of suck. But didn't he only play 3 games last year?
Maybe not even that. He got hurt early, and they tried to bring him back, and then he was just like, couldn't go.
Yeah. So, obviously not going to be much of a degradation there compared to what they were last year, but still a consistently solid team.
Yeah, and I guess to round this out, TCU, team that lost a whole hell lot of talent.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think they made my top 25. And it's kind of by virtue that like their first 7 games are like mad easy. Like Colorado. They get Nicholls State, Houston, SMU, West Carolina, West Virginia, Iowa State, go Bedin, and BYU. But from there it gets tough. But like fortunately enough, they get Kansas State at home, which Kansas State was kind of a kryptonite for them last year. They get Texas Tech at home, and they get Oklahoma at home. So it's like it's not exactly a lost season. They get Chandler Morris, a guy that's been there a while and was initially the starter before Max Duggan this past season.
Yeah.
And yeah, they lost a lot of talent, but they also brought back some good players there, Bud Clark, Johnny Hodges, and such. So like,
and then
they're gonna be in the mix.
Yeah, they also brought back one of what's his name? Corner. I'm tripping. Something Newton.
Josh Newton. How did I forget about Josh Newton? I like Josh.
Yeah,
Newton.
He's a really good corner. So they have some good guys there, but I'm very excited for SMU to take back our rightful place. We actually were really competitive with them last year compared to some other teams. Yeah, that's fair. Even though our offense sucked, but we somehow still put up the points. Oh, that was a very embarrassing day. Yeah. There were a lot of fights on campus too. So,
oh wow,
it was fun. Oh yeah, no, we have a legitimate distaste for them. So,
any final like shout outs or maybe a team you want to drag through the mud or anything?
Ooh, Wisconsin
that aren't on the list. Someone we haven't mentioned.
I don't really believe so. I mean, Spencer Rattler, obviously all the talent in the world, but absolutely zero heart. He is possibly, one of those people where he cannot walk into a church because there is some magical force keeping him from there. But besides that, I mean, no.
I want to drag Baylor for a quick second. Team that ruined every parlay for me last season.
It's Yaki Ika.
Dude. He was like only guy I liked from that squad. Like to be fair, like Baylor, they bring back some decent talent on the defensive end. It's just screw Baylor. Yeah. It didn't matter if I bet for him, if I bet against him. Any parlay that I had that involved Baylor was like, nah, not today. Yeah. You thought you were gonna win money? No, we're gonna go choke against BYU. Oh no! Somehow sneaking TCU is gonna miss extra point and only win by 1 point, so you don't get the TCU -1 or Baylor -1.5. Like stupid, dude. Stupid. I hate Baylor. I'm never betting Baylor again, dude.
Fuck
Golden
Baylor.
Bears.
Yeah, I mean, as a Texas student that does not go to Baylor, I share your sentiment for Baylor. But you can do the outro.
All right. Well, that's it for us. Let us know who you think should have been included in this top 25. College football is the best sport on earth, so I'm sure you got opinions. We all got them. So let us know in the comment section below. We look forward to having that conversation with you. But as always, until next time, you be easy, our friends. Later.